Welcome to the Latin Wealth Podcast, a podcast dedicated to educating the Latino community about entrepreneurship, investing, and business.
Yo, what's going on, Latin Wealth family? Welcome to another episode to the Latin Wealth Podcast. And this is Wealth Wednesday. Very excited about today's conversation. We got a couple of dope topics that we're going to get into today. Number one, we're going to be talking about an article that's breaking down how Latinos are working to overcome the AI and automation divide. All right. So, you guys know that we have spoken plenty of times on this platform how. Um, Vital it is for our community to educate themselves and educate us about AI and the future of AI and how it's going to be a pivotal role in our lives really. And also we're going to be talking about the fight for the 150 million emerald industry in Colombia. So these are a couple of topics that we're going to hit on today. If this is your first time tuning into the Latin Wealth platform, welcome. We appreciate you. If you guys want to stick around, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Share this episode with one other person that needs to be tapped into this platform. And as always, Jeremiah, how you feeling today, bro?
Feeling good. And I'm excited about the topics too. I thought the video was crazy on the emerald industry. That was
Yeah.
wild. Like I didn't even know that. So introduction. I'm happy to get it going.
Yeah, let's get it going. So, look, we're going to jump into how Latinos are overcoming the AI and automation divide. Again, we know that, especially if you've been tapped into this platform, we're always talking about AI. We're always talking about, like, yo, do your due diligence, play around with these platforms, and understand how these platforms can be tools in your life. So, this article came out and is basically saying as jobs become more reliant on technology, some Latino workers can feel like they're being left behind due to lack of digital skills, right? Latinos remain in a vital part of jobs in agriculture, construction, retail, and food services, but these jobs are also at risk of automation, leaving some Latinos unprepared for a changing role that relies more on technology, according to a new report by researchers at the University of Southern California. In a quote by one of the researchers over there, it says Latino workers are on the front line of automation risks, facing barriers like limited English proficiency, low digital access, and educational gaps. All right, so this is what the article is about. Now, it's interesting. I want to bring this up. What was it like? Maybe 3, 4 days ago, I posted something on Instagram, basically having a conversation around skills, developing skills, and why it's important to develop skills. I brought up a article from Upwork that's talking about the most in-demand skills and jobs that are being searched on Upwork. If you guys don't know what Upwork is, it's a platform where you can outsource different jobs and whatnot. But it's very interesting how a lot of what's on those lists is aligned with like, hey, people are looking for people that are efficient when it comes to AI and these different automation tools and whatnot. But we'll get into that. I have a couple other things I want to share as well. But Jeremiah, what are your thoughts and opinion on all of this?
A lot of the opportunities and things that we see as Latinos that people aren't maybe not able to take advantage of, or that they're not moving in the space of like learning coding or learning, this technical proficiency. A lot of that has to do with there's no funding,
Hmm.
in a specific area, and you can't find ways to actually get this information unless you go to a college or enroll in some type of course or something like that. Now, strangely, that's what it's been, and we've seen that trend already. So now, as AI kicks in, and there's going to be an even larger gap, which is what we speak about all the time. I find it very interesting, as well as I mean, not to be political, but obviously Doge is in the
Hmm.
back and
Hmm.
forth in the news sector, and they're cutting a lot of funding
Yep.
to particular programs and things like that that would benefit stuff like this, that would be in that community to teach people, AI, or teach them the various different apps or all these things that we need as Latinos that funding is somewhat going away. So I'm wondering if within the next 3 or 4 years we see that trend increase, right?
Mm,
To where it is now, we should be looking to try to decrease it, but I'm just wondering, will it start to increase? And what can we do, like in our own community? Because I think practically we probably need to be setting up our own type of
mm,
programs, right? People that are proficient in it. Um, Makes me think about my brother Chris, right? Munoz, that's very proficient in these type of things. If we can set up seminars or things like that where we can start to teach people, that's probably one of the
mm.
answers. Because
Yeah,
just based on the numbers that we're seeing right now, that's going to increase because we're going to basically be losing funding for those type of programs and those initiatives that we had previously. So those numbers were already going up, and now they're going to probably spike
for
because
sure.
we need, yeah. So
So
that's
what?
initial thoughts.
No, 100%. And I'm curious, um, let's just say we do a seminar. What some of the different things you think are important for people to learn?
Number one is prompt engineering. If you can understand the way to actually get the answers that you're looking for, a lot of people don't use ChatGPT or DeepSeek or these other type of platforms because they don't know how to work them,
Hmm.
right? And so they say, well, I don't, it doesn't give me any answers. Well, it'll give you whatever you ask it if you know how to prompt it correctly. So prompt engineering is number one. Uh, Number two is utilization of various different AI like apps or components for productivity. So whatever industry you're in, we can have a class that teaches people, hey, if you're here and you're trying to do this, this is the app that you use, and kind of maybe create a matrix for people for them to understand where to go and what to use. And then probably lastly, I would say, obviously financials, right?
Hmm.
And teach the way that, or basically an overview of how AI is basically going to control, or it's already controlling the financial aspect of our economy. Mag 7 on stocks, I mean, it's AI related, right? Everyone that's intertwined or vertically integrated into the AI system is part of that Mag 7, maybe minus Tesla, and even Tesla's kind of integrated into it. So that's the three things that I think if we could teach, three different areas of focus, that's just a thought, and
Yeah.
that would definitely help.
And what are your thoughts on? Because in this article, it clearly says that jobs in agriculture, construction, retail, food services, these are at-risk jobs, right?
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
important do you think it is for our people to continue to, okay, I see that these may be at risk. It's time for me to diversify my skill set and learn and really build myself out as more of a well-rounded person as far as skill sets.
I think that it's utterly important, right? We can't continue to just lean on, the skill sets or the trades that we had previously. There's new ways, there's new ways of moving in the space. And what I mean by that is, let's say that you have a union that you created of workers, right? And you know a whole bunch of people, and but you're the leader of this group of people, right? You basically organize people. Well, if you know that AI is coming and they're probably going to integrate AI into the farm equipment,
Hmm.
right? That's going and picking and doing the farm work, then you gather your people together and you say, hey guys, let's go learn this set of skills, right? We're going to be the people programming that AI. We're going to be the people controlling the data center or something, right?
Hmm.
But that's what I'm saying. Like sitting and looking at what are the skill sets that are going to be replaced, and then how can I get ahead of it? What's
Hmm.
the next step, right? Like down the road, what is the thing that's controlling whatever's going to replace us? That's what I would say.
No, 100%. And so what I brought up is the article that I mentioned earlier. Again, this is from Upwork.com. These are the most in-demand jobs and skills on this platform. So these are people, and I don't even know how many people use this. I can imagine thousands and thousands of people all over the world use this platform. And these are what in each category, what people are looking for, what they're seeking to hire people for, right? So as you mentioned, and what we're talking about in the data science and data analytics category, you can see the first one is generative AI modeling, data analysis, machine learning, AI data annotation and labeling. So there's what is it, six different categories here, and you can go through each one and see which one is relatable to your current skill set and maybe what you're doing at your current role. I'm a big believer in taking what you already have been doing really well or at a high level with your current job and figuring out a way to even monetize that or increase that skill set, right? There's something that you've been doing at your job long enough that you're great at that you can possibly maybe build a service outside of what you're doing, right? And if you don't, if you're in one of these at-risk industries, again, taking a look at like which one of these is something that I can step into or start to learn more about, can set yourself up for success.
Most definitely. I feel like if you can kind of take a step back, right, from the day to day. And we always talk about this, but let's stop being so tactical. Tactical is the operational every day to day, and you have to be a little bit strategic. Strategy says I'm looking at the holistic view of what's going on in the economy, what's going on geographically, what my skill sets are, and how can I be of value. And if you bring that value to the marketplace, right, the people will tell you what it's worth. And if you do really well and you're answering and providing some solutions and you can kind of see a little bit in the future, that'll be very profitable.
Hmm. Hmm.
So I agree.
I'm gonna go to ChatGPT real quick. This is kind of something I did a little bit for fun. I threw in their top careers in the
Cool.
next 10 years that AI can't replace. So I asked ChatGPT what AI can't replace. So again, I'm not going to go through each one, but you can see healthcare professionals, creative roles, education and training, skilled trades, legal and ethical roles, entrepreneurship roles, human resources role. So this is something also to consider and look at as well. Take a look at this, and it gives some pretty good information about each one of these categories. And I'm sure we can argue like AI.
Yeah, I'm looking at that. I'm looking at a couple of these. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if that's, I mean, environmental and sustainability experts, maybe. Because AI will learn more about the environment, right? It's gonna
Yeah.
get more, always talk about it getting more sentient. So I don't
So
know. Some of these are questionable, but yeah, for the most part, I can agree with them for sure.
yeah, and I figured I wanted to know what AI would say about like you know, what it can replace and whatnot. So it's kind of interesting. I think a more reliable article is to go to something like this to see what people are actually
Yeah,
searching up
what they're
and
searching.
what exactly. So, very
So number
interesting,
one,
man.
those surgeons and healthcare professionals, and that's something that, right, that's 1% of them, like probably less than that, right? So you got 0.07% of America that's going to be a doctor, right? So like that,
Mhm.
yeah, that's number one, of course, but you know, and they're even working on robots that do surgery. So I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, for sure.
It's you know, there we go.
100%. Something else that's pretty interesting, if you guys did not know, we're going to be talking about Colombia. So Colombia produces the world's most expensive emeralds, right? They have some of the highest quality stones that can be
Yeah.
worth tens of thousands of dollars per carat. Miners have fought over these treasures for centuries, but in the past decade, foreign investors have came in and consolidated the industry, right? Newcomers have come in, brought safety and new jobs in the area, but there's little left over for the communities around the mines. All right. So, very interesting. Jeremiah, I wanted to get your thoughts about this. What happens when foreign investors come in to a multi-million dollar industry, and how can local miners gain a piece of it back? Now, it's interesting before you jump into here. I didn't even know this, but when we went to Colombia last year, I mean, this is a big industry out there. We went to when we went out there, I mean, everybody, all vendors, jewelry shops, they're all selling emerald, and it's actually I didn't even know that, but I was like, wow, this is interesting. Yeah,
It's very similar to Africa and diamonds. Um, kind of, I kind of
yeah.
noticed that, right? South America's diamond. They were saying that diamonds are widespread, and people are starting to figure out that there's actually it's not a diamonds aren't rare actually. If you control the supply of them, then it's rare. But actually, in nature and stuff naturally occurring, they're not that rare. And so they were just saying, emeralds are actually starting, colored stones are starting to be put up there very high. And I was surprised. I didn't know Colombia had that type of. You were saying these companies come in and they're starting to control the
Hmm.
mining aspect, and then they're controlling the profits, which doesn't leaves very little for the. There's groups of actual miners from Colombia that these people. This is what they do. They go out and they mine and they get the emeralds, they clean them up, and then they take them and sell them. It kind of puts me in the mindset. Now, this is right, just a thought, but it kind of puts me in the mindset a lot of also Puerto Rico, how companies come in,
Yep.
they take over and they're taking natural resources, right? And then they're getting the resources and not the natives. What I would say is for the government of Colombia, which that means they need to do a better job when these big American companies and these other, European companies come in, they need to hold them to a place to say, okay, you're going to bring this manufacturing in, but you have to hire locals.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I think that maybe that would make it a little bit better because then the profit is actually being shared, not as much, obviously, as if they found a
Right.
big emerald themselves, but it does share the profit on a consistent basis throughout the communities, and it would help them to be more, actually more vibrant because what I saw and reading that article is just like, man, these companies come in and they basically suck the life out of the community
Yeah.
wherever they're at because they're taking all the profit and shipping it back to whatever country that they came from. So Colombia's government's got to do better of, implementing, hey, when you come in, you got to hire nothing but
Yeah.
locals, right? You
Yeah.
can't bring people from other places. Like everyone has to be like workers has to be here, right? I mean, C-suite is different, but workers, it has to be locals.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. And there has to be some better regulation on that. And that's
100%.
honestly across all of Latin America and what we've been posting on Latin Wealth. We'll post stuff about El Salvador, or you mentioned Puerto
Yeah.
Rico. And one of the biggest questions that people have is like, okay, well, how is this going to help out local communities? How is this going to help out our people that are actually living there? Even in DR, I posted recently something in DR. They're like, hey, how does this help out, our people here?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's always the biggest and most challenging question to ask and tackle, right? But I think in this scenario, for sure, having some regulation around like, yo, if you're going to be coming in here, absolutely, you can do it, but you need to, at least 80% of your workforce needs to be local Colombians, if not
I think they need to,
100%.
I think they need to follow the example of Bukele because he controls when people like he met with Elon, right? So he controls how companies come in. And he's already got plans of his own, and that company has to adhere to his plans that he already has in order to come into his country,
Hmm.
right? And so maybe they need to, like you said, maybe they need to get this coalition together so they can figure out and start learning, get a mastermind so they can learn because you have to be strategic when you let companies in. Um, Not to be like that. The company's going to make a ton of money, right? But the country itself has to benefit. You and your people have to benefit, and I won't say more, but it needs to be even. It needs to be mutually beneficial for
Hmm.
sure.
100%. I agree. Anything else before we get out of here today? We wanted to come on here, be concise, give you guys the information. As always, if you guys learned anything from this episode, do us a huge favor, share this episode with one other person. Comment, like, subscribe. All of that means the world to us. Jeremiah, anything else before we head out of here?
No, super appreciative, obviously, of the people that have already subscribed, the people that consistently comment on our Instagram page and on YouTube. We appreciate you guys. Make sure to keep sharing us. And we love all comments. Chris says it all the time. We love
Everything.
all your comments. Doesn't matter what the comments are. We love them. And we're very active in responding. See Chris in there responding too. So hey, we love them. Keep it coming. Appreciate you guys.
Absolutely. Hey, it's a lot. Well, family, we'll catch you guys next week. Peace.